Hey guys, how's it going? I know it's been a while since I posted about my truck, but I went ahead and made that second modification to it. The first modification was my ported throttle body, of course, from K-Tech. This modification was the cold air intake from Cold Air Inductions. If you hear anything, it's my son on the back. Say hey, AJ. Say hey. Well, he's eating raisins right now. But yeah, I put the cold air intake on here and I rode around on it for a while. I actually made a trip to and back to and from Florida to Mississippi. The Mississippi-Tennessee border, right there in Memphis, Tennessee. I actually drove from Horn Lake, Mississippi, all the way down to Boca Raton, Florida. It's probably about 900 or so miles. The trip down was without any load on here. It's just me, my girl, and my son, and a little bit of luggage. But the trip back, we actually had a U-Haul trailer, 5x8. Going there, I just, the typical sounds you get from a cold air intake. I don't have any sound clips on how it sounded, but it was not a very attractive sound, especially not once it had a load on it. But I also had HP tuners running and I was logging it. I actually did a couple logs around town, the same little circuit back and forth to try to see what type of cold air, what type of temp I was getting from my mass airflow sensor. The results were pretty interesting, but just stay tuned. After this installation, I'll tell you exactly what happened. But if you don't want to watch the installation, just go ahead and skip to the end. Also, there'll be links down in the description below. So with that said, enjoy the video. Thanks. Alright guys, I'm gonna do a quick disassembly. As always, within the install, you want to make sure you disconnect the negative battery tape. We're gonna loosen up this support member. I've already gotten started on this. Just to make it a little bit quicker. The instruction recommended, but I don't know if this is really necessary. But we'll see in a second. And also loosen it up as well. Yeah, we got plenty of tape just in case we need it. Alright, now let's get this air intake off. Unscrew this hose clamp from this air diffuser box and also from this hose duct. Guess we'll go ahead and disconnect the mass airflow sensor. Set that out the way. It also got a little grommet stuck off in the air box. Just go ahead and pull that out. this big ugly thing off in here. As you can see, that's the K-Tech throttle body we put on in the last video. So this thing don't want to come out of it. Alright. Set this back out of here. Alright. Set 3 snaps on it. Let's see if we can get this off of here without moving this. Yeah, I don't think we needed to move that bar in the first place. Yeah. Just checking to make sure all the rubber grommets are still here. I'll be reusing those when we put in this cold air intake box. All right. Next, I guess we can go ahead and put this on. Yeah, has little indications on which way to put it. Put it on until you hear the click. Push from the inside. This is rubber. It'll give on you. Yeah. All right, I had these on upside down, but I guess I'll go ahead and snap them on until you hear them go snap. All right, put these out the way. Next, we're going to transfer the mass airflow sensor. Yeah, you want to be very careful with this piece. You mess this up, might be out of commission for a little while. Let's see, and it's going to be a torque split, a T10. That sounds like pretty good. get all of that in the shot. Alright. Be as careful as possible. Make sure we got it still going in the same direction. Just drop it right on in there. There we go. You want to make sure this sits all the way down. You don't want to seep in any air. Put the supplied screws in here. Try to put it on as even as possible to make sure that we get a good seat. Because I don't want any air getting around this thing. As a matter of fact, I might come back later on and put a little silicone around here just to make sure. Alright, let's get this out of here. Well guys, I did end up having to move this out the way. And also I had to loosen the bolt on just this side of the overflow reservoir. Make sure I get this back in there. It'd be nice if this is magnetized. I can get gravity to help me out here a little bit. I guess we all know what that sound is. And it's on the ground. Hold on, guys. Let's try this one more again. There we go. Get it started. Alright, fine. Now we got that bad boy on there. Got this in good and secure. Let's go ahead and get this hose on. Alright, let's set this in here. Just twist this around. Has this connector piece down the side. Now we got this where we can get it in and service it. Put both of these over. Loosen this up some. Make it a little bit easier on myself. There we go. There we go. Make sure these are sealed. Don't want any air leaking. Connect this mass airflow sensor back. And for the filter. Go ahead and loosen that up. Pipe. Make sure we got it nice and snug. Let's loosen it up a little more. I want to make sure it's on there real good. Don't need it popping off. Now, it has a stopper in there. I didn't realize that. It has a shoulder to land on. And make sure this is sitting in the groove when you tighten it up. That way you ensure a nice sealed unit here. All right, now for the cover. Put this nice protective film on here. Check that plexiglass or whatever they have on here. Sandy.
About that?
Yeah, put on the final touches.
Hey, y'all come back this way. Where y'all going tomorrow?
Well, guys, that's about it. Button this up, then I'll give you my final thoughts. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you stayed with me this far, thank you. If you skipped here, thank you for coming to look for this data. Hopefully it helps you on your decision making if you want to buy this or not. I used my HP tuners to do some data logs. I did a couple runs with the GM stock, with the stock GM intake system. I also did a couple runs with the C.A.I. Cold Air intake system as well. The data was pretty interesting. I was expecting to see a greater delta between the Cold Air Induction system and the stock GM system, but I really didn't. At wide open throttle, say running around 75 miles an hour, I was only able to see 2 to 3 degree delta. So, it was 2 to 3 degrees, lower than the stock GM at wide open throttle. But in town, the inverse was different. Actually, it was a little bit greater. The temps at idle and part throttle were like 5 to 10 degrees more than the stock GM. And I think some of the things that contribute to this is the metal charging tube. Metal charging tube. Yeah, this right here is able to get soaked with heat, and it also houses the mass airflow sensor. So both of these really affects how cold the air can get coming through here. If this is hot, it's going to warm up the air a little bit going into the engine. I feel like if this would have been a TPE material, like a plastic, a TPE plastic or whatever, that would have made this so much better. So Cold Air Inductions, maybe on your next design, you would, want to include a TPE version of this. Also, the airbox. The airbox is not enclosed. As you can see from the video, you can see that it's like a wedge. The top, it has 2 sides that relies on the engine bay. And around this, you have cracks to where the engine can suck in hot air from the engine bay. Whereas the GM unit is a fully enclosed unit with a little spout that sticks off into the air well. I mean the fender well, and draws in cool air 100% of the time. I feel like the Cold Air Inductions doesn't really suck in that air from that hole as much until it's at full throttle and it's just sucking as much air as it can. I feel like that's the only time it really takes advantage of that. But that's my thoughts. But the data that came from HP tuners, I can send it to you if you want it, or you can just take my word for it. That's on you. Do I think it's a good system? If you have a max application system, yes, if you're just daily driving, I think it's just an okay system. Pretty much the only thing that would change is you will have more sounds coming from your engine compartment, which is pretty quiet. But some sounds people like, some sounds people don't. Me personally, I don't like the sound of the cold air inductions, but that's me personally. Other people have said that it was great. So, I mean, take it for what you want. Actually, about 5 minutes ago, I revved it a couple of times and you can hear some of what it sounds like. But I do know that under load, when I was coming back from Florida, my girl, she kind of asked me, she was like, is everything all right with the engine? And I was like, yeah, yeah, everything's good. It's just a cold air intake. She's like, oh. And she went back doing what she was doing. But yeah, so those are my thoughts and comments on this system. I bought another system to try out. It's, yeah, well, I just talked about that in another video. Actually, yeah, I'll release that video in the next 2 weeks. It's currently on the truck now. I'm gonna do some data runs on it as well, and I'll let you guys know what I think. But for those of you who stayed this long, thank you. And please like and subscribe, and turn on that bell notification. Thank you guys.